Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today we are going to be looking at the placebo effect.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be really fascinating because it's this idea that our thoughts and beliefs
Right.
can actually have a
Yeah.
real impact on our physical well-being.
Absolutely. And it's really remarkable. We often kind of think of ourselves as separate from our bodies, but
Right.
the science is becoming more and more clear that they're very deeply
Yeah.
intertwined.
Yeah. It's like we have this hidden superpower almost,
Yeah.
and we don't always know how to access it or use it.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times when people hear placebo effect, they think of just the
Yeah.
sugar pill.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's about the beliefs, the expectations, the power of suggestion.
Or like almost like you're handing somebody a possibility.
Yeah.
And if they believe in that possibility,
Yeah.
it can actually start to manifest in their body.
Yeah. Absolutely. And some of the stories in these sources are really quite amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned Mr. Wright earlier.
Oh, yeah. He's incredible. The guy had lymphoma.
Yeah.
And
Advanced lymphoma.
yeah, and they gave him this injection and told him it was this
Right.
new miracle drug.
Yeah.
And his tumors like shrunk dramatically.
It's a really powerful illustration of the mind's ability to influence healing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the story goes that once he found out that it was a placebo,
Right.
his tumors came back.
Yeah. So there's something to be said for
Yeah.
maintaining that belief, I guess.
Yeah, I think belief can be incredibly powerful,
Yeah.
but it can be fragile.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So it's more than just giving someone a sugar pill and saying good luck.
Right.
There's this whole
Acid.
mental and emotional component that we have to
Yeah.
understand.
Absolutely. And the fascinating thing is this power of belief isn't limited to, to pills or
Yeah.
or medications. One of the sources talks about snake handlers
Right.
who handle venomous snakes and they don't get bitten.
Yeah. And they attribute that to their faith.
And they attribute it to their faith. Now, I'm not saying that, faith is the only factor at play there, but
Sure.
the research does suggest that, that unwavering belief actually creates a physiological response
It's amazing.
in their bodies that somehow
It really is.
helps them.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. And then, there's also the opposite, the nocebo effect.
Right.
You mentioned Fred Mason earlier.
Oh, right, yeah.
The gentleman who accidentally overdosed on placebo antidepressants.
And he had these terrible physical reactions to it.
Right. And he had these severe symptoms until he was told that the pills were essentially sugar.
So it's almost like his mind created the symptoms based on what
Right.
he believed he was taking.
Yeah. It's really, it points to the incredible power
Yeah.
of our thoughts,
For
both
better or worse.
for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, understanding this mind-body connection is so crucial.
Right.
It's not just about,
Right.
positive thinking. It's about recognizing that our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs,
Yeah.
they have a profound influence
Yeah.
on our physical health.
So if we can tap into this power,
Yeah.
imagine what we can do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're going to explore in the next part of this deep dive.
Right.
We'll talk about, how we can actually start to apply some of these
Okay.
concepts in our lives.
I'm ready to unlock my inner placebo. All right. We'll be right back.
Okay, so how do you actually become your own placebo?
Uh-huh.
We've talked about the power of belief, but how do you cultivate that belief?
Right. Like, it's one thing to say, think positive,
Yeah.
but how do you actually put that into practice?
Yeah, and one of the techniques that your sources highlight is mental rehearsal.
Okay.
Think of athletes who visualize, winning a game or right.
Or making a shot.
Mm-hmm.
They're essentially training their minds and their bodies to perform.
So we can kind of apply that same principle to our health.
Yeah.
Like if I have a headache, I can imagine it going away.
It's a little more nuanced than that.
Okay.
It's not just wishful thinking.
Right.
It's about really creating a vivid, multi-sensory experience in your mind.
Okay.
So, imagine yourself feeling healthy,
Mm-hmm.
energetic, pain-free.
Okay.
What do you see?
Yeah.
What do you hear? What do you feel?
So the more detail you can put into that visualization,
Exactly.
the more powerful it is.
The more powerful the effect.
Okay.
And the science backs this up. When you vividly imagine something,
Right.
your brain actually fires neurons in a very similar way to if you were actually experiencing it.
So we're kind of tricking our brains
Yeah, you could say.
into believing it's real.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
And remember, the brain has a powerful influence on the body.
So by creating these positive mental images,
Right.
we're sending signals to our body that can actually promote healing and well-being.
But what about those times when you know your mind is just racing
Right.
with negative thoughts?
Yeah.
How do you quiet all that noise?
That's where meditation and mindfulness come
Okay.
in. Think of meditation as a mental workout.
Okay.
It's training your mind to become more focused, more present,
Okay.
allowing you to observe your thoughts without getting swept away by them.
So it's not about like emptying your mind completely.
No, not necessarily.
It's more about learning to control your thoughts instead of letting them control you.
Exactly.
Okay.
And mindfulness is about paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Yeah.
Notice the sensations in your body, your
Right.
breath, the sounds around you.
Okay.
It helps you to kind of break free from those negative thought loops.
Okay. So we've got the mental rehearsal for visualizing those positive outcomes.
Yeah.
We've got the meditation for quieting the mind. But what about our emotions?
Right.
How do those factor into this whole placebo effect thing?
Well, emotions are a huge piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Norman Cousins? You mentioned him earlier?
Yeah, the guy who used laughter to heal himself?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but there's a reason it worked.
I mean, the guy watched hours of funny movies
Yeah.
and basically laughed his way back to health.
When we experience positive emotions like joy, gratitude, love,
Mm-hmm.
our bodies release these beneficial chemicals like endorphins, dopamine.
Right.
These chemicals not only make us feel good,
Mm-hmm.
they also have a positive impact on our immune system.
So it's not just thinking positive thoughts, it's feeling them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The more we can cultivate those positive emotions,
Right.
the more we're creating this internal environment that supports healing and well-being.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do you do that?
Yeah.
Especially when, life is throwing curveballs at you. It's not always easy to stay positive.
It's not, and that's where cognitive reframing comes in.
Right.
It's about challenging those negative thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and consciously choosing a more positive perspective.
So instead of focusing on what's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
you look for the good,
Exactly.
even in those tough situations.
And exactly. It's not about denying reality
Right,
or pretending that everything is perfect.
right.
It's about acknowledging the situation,
Mm-hmm.
but choosing to focus on the aspects that empower you
Okay.
rather than the ones that drain you.
So, for example, if I'm stressed about work,
Mm-hmm.
instead of dwelling on all the things that are going wrong,
Right.
I could try to focus on the fact that, I have a job,
Exactly.
I'm able to pay my bills,
Yeah.
I'm learning new skills.
You're not ignoring the challenges,
Right.
but you're shifting your focus to something more empowering.
Okay.
And that shift in perspective can have this ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
It can reduce your stress levels,
Right.
create a more positive outlook.
So we're training our brains to see the glass half full.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
And it's not just about feeling better.
Mhm.
Studies have shown that people who practice cognitive reframing,
Right.
they have lower levels of stress hormones,
Wow.
better overall health.
Okay, so all this is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be realistic. Not everyone has access to therapists or, meditation classes.
Right.
Are there other ways that we
Yeah.
can kind of cultivate this positive mindset?
Absolutely. There are simple things you can do every day.
Okay.
To boost your well-being, spending time in nature, for example,
Okay.
has been shown to reduce stress and improve mood.
That's something we can all do,
Yeah.
even if it's just for a few minutes.
Yeah, even a few minutes can make a difference.
What else?
Connecting with others is another powerful tool.
Okay.
Studies have shown that people with strong social connections,
Mhm.
they tend to be happier and healthier.
So it's not just about what's going on in our own heads.
Right.
It's about cultivating those positive relationships with others.
Exactly. Feeling loved and supported creates the sense of safety and belonging,
Mm-hmm.
which helps reduce stress and boost our overall well-being.
Okay, so we've got mental rehearsal,
Yeah.
meditation, cognitive reframing, nature, social connection.
Right.
Sounds like there's a lot of different ways that we can tap into this
There are.
power within us.
And don't forget the importance of taking care of your physical health.
Right,
Getting enough sleep, eating nutritious food, exercising regularly.
right.
Those all play a crucial role in supporting.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
Mind, body, spirit.
It's all one integrated system.
It is.
And when we take care of ourselves holistically,
Right.
we're creating the optimal conditions for healing and transformation.
Okay, in the next part of this deep dive,
Hmm.
let's hear some of those amazing stories about people who have really been able to harness this power of the mind. to overcome some incredible challenges.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the science, we've talked about some of the techniques, but sometimes I think hearing real-life stories
Yeah.
really brings it home for people. So
Absolutely.
you've got some amazing examples of people who've become their own placebo.
Yeah, these are folks who really decided to take charge of their health.
Hmm.
Not just passively accepting a diagnosis, but actively working to rewrite their
Yeah,
narratives.
let's start with Lori.
Okay.
Um, she was diagnosed with this rare bone disease,
Right.
and she was constantly in pain, had to use crutches to walk.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly limiting.
It does.
Yeah.
And doctors told her, she would always be susceptible to fractures.
Mm.
But Lori decided she wasn't going to let this define her.
Right.
She started visualizing herself strong and active,
Yeah.
walking without pain, even running.
So using that mental rehearsal technique we talked
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Yeah.
And she combined it with positive affirmations and just practices to kind of connect with her inner strength.
Right.
And it wasn't a quick fix,
Yeah.
but over time, her condition actually started to improve.
Yeah, and this is where it gets me every time.
Which
She actually ran a marathon.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Proof that our bodies can do incredible things
it really is.
when we align our minds and our beliefs.
It's a powerful reminder that we often have much more potential than we realize.
Yeah,
Our beliefs can either limit us or they can liberate us.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Candace.
Okay.
She was dealing with chronic fatigue pain,
Mm.
all sorts of symptoms that pointed to an autoimmune disorder.
Right, and she was told that she'd likely be managing these symptoms for the rest of her life.
Wow,
Yeah, but Candace refused to accept that.
good for her.
She started exploring personal growth,
Okay.
practicing gratitude,
Mm.
addressing emotional baggage from her past.
So she was really taking a holistic approach.
Yeah, exactly. She wasn't just focused on the physical symptoms. She was looking at the bigger picture.
Right.
And as she shifted her mindset and embraced gratitude,
Mm.
her symptoms started to fade.
Wow,
She got her energy back, the pain decreased,
that's amazing.
and she just felt this renewed sense of joy.
It's almost like her mind was creating those symptoms before.
It's possible.
And once she addressed the root cause,
Yeah.
the symptoms went away.
I think Candace's story really reminds us that healing is multifaceted.
Yeah.
Our emotions, our past experiences,
It's all connected.
they all play a role.
Yeah. Okay, one more story.
Okay.
This one really got me, Joanne.
Mm-hmm.
She was diagnosed with MS,
Right.
and she was told she was going to have this decline in her physical and cognitive abilities.
Yeah, it's a diagnosis that can feel very overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But she had this realization that she'd been so focused on achievement, on external validation,
Right.
that she completely neglected her well-being.
She'd lost touch with herself.
Yeah, so she decided to make a change.
Mm.
She started prioritizing self-care,
Yeah.
incorporating meditation and mindfulness into her routine.
Mm-hmm.
And she really connected with a deeper sense of purpose.
Right, and she started to see a difference.
Wow.
The progression of her MS slowed down,
Really?
and she felt this renewed sense of vitality.
It's incredible.
It wasn't a cure,
Right.
but it was a profound shift.
Yeah, these stories are so inspiring.
They are.
I mean, they show us that even in the face of these really serious health challenges, we have a choice.
You do.
We can choose to be passive recipients of our circumstances,
Right.
or we can choose to actively participate in our healing.
And that active participation starts with understanding the power of our minds. We can choose to cultivate beliefs,
Right.
thoughts, emotions
Yeah.
that support our well-being.
It's about recognizing that we have this inner pharmacy, this source of healing within us.
It's about becoming our own placebo.
I love that. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something today and feel empowered to explore the incredible healing potential that resides within you.